We're in the book of Colossians, which is another letter that Paul wrote to a church located in the city of Colossae, which was located in an area which is now Turkey in Asia. And it was written about 60 AD, and Paul had not started this church. He might not even ever have visited it, but he was under house arrest, and he was visited by the founder, Epaphras. And so I'm guessing he's talking to him and learning about that region and about what they're doing and what they're teaching and picking up on things, just talking to him and basing his letter on that, or what he feels they need to hear and what God lays on his heart to write to them, of course. And it kind of makes me wonder, like, what a book to the Grantvilleans would look like. If he ever wrote like a letter to us, right? The church in Grantville. Because every church, no church is perfect. We're just not, humans are not capable of putting together a perfect church. We're going to miss things. We're not going to be perfectly holy, but I'm just curious, like, what he would write. So Colossae was in a region at the time that was heavily influenced by pagan traditions and philosophical beliefs, Greek philosophies and things. So they had a lot to talk about and believe in, but it wasn't religion. They didn't have much concept of God, like the Jewish people. At least they had God. Now it was just adding to it. But these people, they didn't have God much at all. And so he wants to bring clarity to them that this is something different. This is what you replace everything else with. That was the important message, I feel, that he wanted to tell them. So in chapter 1, verse 15 through 20, it's sometimes referred to as the Messiah's poem. And it's very complex and very deep. So I'm going to do my best to try to explain it. And I'm also paraphrasing. But he says, "For out from Jesus himself, all things were created. All things on earth and in heaven, all principalities and powers and thrones, everything was created out from Jesus himself. He is before all things." He existed before all things. So in the Bible, they don't say like he was. There is no past tense when it comes to God or Jesus. He is. So it's like he is before all things. And in him, all things have been together. And that in him, all fullness should dwell, and by him all things will be reconciled to himself. Huge concepts. And he made this reconciliation, this peace, through the blood on the cross. And that includes reconciling you to him if you continue grounded and steadfast and are not moved away from the hope of the gospel that is preached. So he's like, okay, this is it. He is the Alpha and the Omega, which is the Greek first and last letter of the Greek alphabet. So it's like saying he's the A through Z. He is everything. There is nothing else. There's no answers in anything else. You don't need anything else. It's like complete. And all things were created for reconciliation through Christ. I don't know what that means, but that's what it says. In chapter 2, it talks about then to be aware of the social influence. Beware lest anyone cheat you through philosophy and empty deceit according to the traditions of men, basic principles of the world, for you are complete only in him. Him having wiped out the handwriting of the law against you. Having wiped out the handwriting of the law against you, and nailed it to the cross with himself. And then here I discovered a new favorite verse for me. Thereby, by nailing that to the cross, dying on the cross, having disarmed principalities and powers, making a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them by it. I just love that. That's like the greatest ending to a movie. The concept of that, like, wow. So then he says, don't pick it back up. Don't back up those things that have an appearance of wisdom or a self-imposed religion, false humility, or neglect of the true body. So he's like, on all levels, don't neglect the gospel by believing other things to have any kind of wisdom, or creating your own version of the religion, or not being humble and surrendered to the word, or neglect the true body, which the church. And he says, set your mind on things from above and not from earth.